Hi. I just thought I just finished work. I'm just sitting here in the car, just thinking it over, and just thought I'd do a more thorough video to explain what happened to me at church on Sunday, 2 days ago, on the 4th of July. So, anyway, yeah. So I got kicked out of church, right? So I arrived at church. I didn't know there was a law about not singing this weekend. It's very hard to keep up, and I don't usually keep up. But what I am keeping up with, of course, is the rollout of this sort of global takeover of the world culture kind of agenda that's going on. And, of course, I'm very concerned about it, as most of my friends would know. And very concerned also about the church maybe taking a bit of a passive stance, and some taking a passive stance even though they know what's going on, and just feeling that they don't want to engage and that maybe God's just going to zap them out of here before things get real narky. Or others are just like, they don't want to be identified with the crazy conspiracy theorists, so they're quite happy to just ignore the whole thing and put blinkers on and just say, trust your government, obey your government, that's God's rules. Anyway, so we were sort of discussing it a bit, having a coffee before church, and the pastor excitedly came and told us that there would be no singing today, so I didn't have to do the overheads. I was going to help with the overheads. So it was just a small group of us, only a handful. We're all kind of friendly with each other. It's a pretty casual church. When he announced to the church that there would be no singing, I put my hand up and said, do we want to talk about, what happens if this goes on? Or do we want to discuss what this means? And it was just like, no, it'll be all right tomorrow. They'll change the laws tomorrow. It's like, oh, okay. And so the person next to me and I were sort of having a bit of a joke about, we'll probably have a senior moment and keep singing. So, yeah, so he had a thing where we could all get up and with the mic and read out our favourite scripture and pray into that. And that was like the alternative of worshipping God, because we couldn't sing. But we still had a musician, a lovely guy called Andy, who sings for us and leads us in worship. And so he got up to do his worship set, but with no words up, of course, and we were told not to sing. And so Andy sang a lovely song, which I didn't know, and then he started singing choruses, which we do know. And so we're sitting there and, you start mouthing the words, and I can hear there's a sort of gentle hum around me of people just sort of gently, quietly singing the words. And so you just sort of thinking like I wasn't setting out to do anything, to cause trouble. But you're ready to. You don't want to be afraid of causing trouble if trouble's the right thing to do. So I wanted to so I thought, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just be with God and just focus on what the state of my heart. And so I just sat and let and it's hard not to sing if you know the choruses. But we were obviously all mouthing the words, and it just felt so weird. It was just such a weird kind of thing to do. We're in this room on our own, just a small group of people that all know each other, that come together for the purpose of worshipping God. But there's this arbitrary rule that says today you're not allowed to sing to God. So anyway, but then I could just feel the Holy Spirit welling up in me, and just feeling his beautiful presence. And then he sang the song, something beautiful, something good. All my confusion, he understood. All I had to offer him was brokenness and strife, and he made something beautiful of my life. And it just felt like an offense to stop myself from glorifying him in that moment for that truth. And so I just stood up and I sang, but I didn't sing loudly, or I didn't sing to make a scene. It was just me worshipping God, my God. And next thing I feel someone touch my hand, and I look up and there's the pastor saying, no, stop. And I just continued. I just closed my eyes again and continued. And then next thing I know, he's up at the mic and he says, all right, stop everyone, we've got to stop now. Sophie's singing. Every time I think about that, it makes me laugh. Like, we're going to stop the service. Sophie's singing. And at that point, I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. I said, it's okay. I'll go. I came here to worship God, so I got my things. I could see they didn't want me there. So I started walking to the door, and he's kind of starts saying, just go, just ordering me out. Or I can't remember exactly. I think maybe I stopped and said, we're going to have to think about this, guys, as we go ahead, like what this means and what we're going to do. We can't live in fear. We can't just be timid and just hide behind things. I don't know what I said, but so, at that point, you're entering into a bit of a moment where things are charged. But then he starts to say, he's pointing at the door, opening the door, pointing out and saying, just go, just get out. And so, you back up a bit, like, hang on a minute, like, this is my church, you're my pastor, we, drink tea together, we talk together, we do stuff together, we worship God together, and you're ordering me out of the door like a dog? For what? Like, and so I was just a bit affronted, and I was like trying to get him to see how absurd this is and how wrong it is. And so in that moment, there was another lady she was making an effort, and I'm sorry, I was a bit cross with her, but she was like, she thought she needed to placate me and soothe me, but that just made me angry because I felt like she was just patronizing me, and I said, I'm not a child. Of course I'm upset. This is an upsetting situation. Sorry, dry throat. And one of the things that she said was, we'll be allowed to sing again soon. Like I'm just upset because I can't sing. And it's like, that's not what I'm talking about. It's like, can you hear what you're saying? That we'll be allowed to sing soon, And at the same time, people can go to the footy and shout all over each other, or we're down in the cafe beforehand, close to each other, talking. But I mean, obviously it takes an awareness of the whole bigger issue, and that if you're buying into the whole COVID hoax, then of course it's going to make more sense. But sorry, I don't know whether I should keep going. It's probably gone long enough. But anyway, then so there was this sort of tension at the door for a little while, and I just felt like I wanted to push back into that space and create a moment and say, look, guys, do you want to talk about this? This is reality. This is something we're living through. This is, you can't just brush this under the carpet, and just get rid of me and as if that's solved. This is important issues. And I know there's a lot of people in the church that are aware of what's going on and aware of the agenda and the rollout of the vaccines and all the people that are dying and all the things that have been put in place to bring about a totalitarian global government in our world and change our culture, and that this is about changing our culture. And so I did that for a while. I stood my ground and kind of just tried to push back into it. And I was just like, really? And he's just like, get out, just go, and just ordering me out. Like I said, it feels like a dog, like you talk to a dog. And so in my exasperation at the point where I'm just like, okay, if that's how you want to, and that's when I said a Rudy word that now it's going to be like, oh, Sophie's definitely got something wrong with her because she said a Rudy word. So I told him to F off or F you or something. And, which seemed entirely appropriate to me. And I think it was like signing off, like saying, well, all right, if that's your values, if that's what you want, I'm signing off. Like, I don't want this, and this is what I think of it. And since then, I kind of think about, someone in the church was telling me about how they'd gone in to see the thing about Van Gogh, and there's some big fancy schmancy thing going around the world about Van Gogh and big screens, and you pay quite a lot of money to go in there and have a big Van Gogh experience. And it just reminded me of Jesus saying that you decorate the graves of the prophets, and you say, if we lived in the times of the prophets, we wouldn't have killed them like our fathers did. But Jesus was saying, you testify against yourself that that you are their sons, and that so that he called them whitewashed graves with dead men's bones in it. That they're making the appearance of things, and they want to glorify people, and that it just reminded me of the situation now with someone like Van Gogh, who was not socially acceptable, and was not that a lot of people that want to admire him now would probably not want him in their house, and yet that they want to sort of glorify him now because he's safely somewhere else. He's safely not in their world, and they can just take the residue that he created with his pain of his life of being rejected and isolated and having a difficult life and trying to be, and being a truth seeker and a God lover and a beauty lover. And I felt like I was saying, fuck you for all the people that have been, that sort of organised church that has been aligned with conformity and establishment and government, that will reject the children, reject God's children, reject the children of light, the difficult ones, the abandoned ones, the lonely ones, the ones that they've persecuted and that they've burned at the stake or just ignored or excommunicated or kicked out in so many different ways, of not allowing them in to the wonderful promises of God because they don't toe the line that is socially acceptable, and they're playing by different rules, by eternal rules, and they're not playing by the rules of this sort of superficial conformity to authorities that are not really authorities. They're just ordering factors, and that if we give them that kind of authority, like a godlike authority, then we're asking for trouble, and we're going to get it. So anyway, I can see my camera's still going. I don't know how long this is taking, but I'll just keep going for the minute because I have got a plan about what to do, and because I have been trying to work out what do I do in this moment where there may be lots of people that can't see what's going on. And there are lots of people, of course, that can see what's going on. But what do I do with this knowledge and with this desire to make a difference and to stop this horror that is being rolled out into our lives? And so I'm going to start with Sundays now. I've got Sundays free. I had an email exchange last night with Trevor, the pastor, and I won't go into that, but I'll try and communicate with the church, the rest of the congregation, and say my goodbyes. But it looks like that's it, because I said the only way I would consider, he's kind of demanding an apology from me, and like, of course, because I said the F word, somehow that is now all that matters. That was the whole incident, was just about me using the F word. and if that sort of violated someone's sensibilities, I'll be happy to apologize to them if it came to it. I guess some people are living more protected lives than me, but certainly that's not what I'm feeling, like apologetic. I'm feeling like that if I was any thought of going back to Light's View, it would be to have some sort of forum, some sort of discussion, sort of like get real about what's happening, be open about what's happening and what we think about it and what we believe is happening and what the church's role is in it. And to be able to discuss what happened with me and what we think about that, and rather than just like, I wouldn't want to go back to a situation where it was just pretended it didn't happen, So what I'm going to do on Sundays now, I think today I was thinking what I'd like to do is I've been talking about having a tour, having a walking tour. I'm going to start a walking thing on Sundays, praying and declaring over Adelaide. I'm going to declare liberty from all these things that are trying to encroach on our culture at the moment. I'll clarify that. I won't try and speak into that now because I think it'll just jumble it, but I'll maybe make another video about that. But I'll probably be walking into the city. That's my plan at the moment. I'll walk along the river into the city and maybe walk around the city. I don't know, but to declare God's kingdom over our city and to uproot all the evil things that are allowing these things to take root. So that's me for today. Sorry if I've rambled on. I hope it made sense, and please feel free to ask me any questions or talk to me. God bless you. Bye-bye.